Hey there, welcome to part two of my incredible interview with Keir Worthy, the uh, in, innovative music extraordinaire, marketing, promotion, hip hop aficionado, urban music, chieftain. I can think of a million different labels to say the extraordinary resume of this gentleman who's joined us today. So I thank you again for being here with us for part two. Keir, thank you for sharing and sharing your time with us to go into some of the other areas of your expertise.
Oh, glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Where we left off at was with your organization of Black designers.
hmm
And what I had hoped to do was end in that area. But if you don't mind, where other people can be in touch with you, young designers, young interested persons who might be interested in design work, where they might be able to get in touch with you, or some of the other people that might be interested in design work or of color.
Well, I mean, LinkedIn is always a great place. I've been involved with LinkedIn almost since its inception. I love it. Um, Also, is our dedicated website, which is www.o is in Oscar, B is in boy, D is in David, OBD.org, which stands for, of course, Organization of Black Designers.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And again, as I would say to our audience, there are few organizations that are spotlighting some of the gifts and talents of people of color who have been a big part of things that we take for granted every day. And I
hmm
encourage everyone to reach out to Keir and the organization to learn more about it. And if you know someone who's interested in being mentored, and or if you are a
Right.
professional in the industry and are of color, please do seek them out on LinkedIn and their various website platforms.
Also,
So,
on our
Keir,
site, just so you know,
yes.
something you didn't mean to cut you off. On our site, we do
Sure.
have a job board and we have an internship board.
Oh, even better.
So when you get
Fantastic.
there, you get to the download hamburger, the drop down menu. You can go there, go to jobs, and see what's out there for the offering.
Oh, fantastic. Good to know. Thank you very much. So, Keir, some of the meat and potatoes of my excitement is here getting into this area because we are both music heads, and this is where I've been kind of on pins and needles saying, "All right, brother, this is some of our other stuff as well." But your music experience is vast and diverse,
Mhm,
and you mentioned a couple of different genres that I
mhm.
myself am a lover of, and I think in talking about being a hip hop head, sometimes we, as in particular as men of color and in our culture, we forget that we have love and appreciation for other forms of music.
Oh, for
So
sure, for sure.
and you mentioned being a skateboarder, hip hop,
Hmm.
techno, house music, dance music, jazz music.
Definitely.
A, a number of those have been in my youth, my young man experience, as well as how I love the diversified music genres. So, in you working with a hip hop or a hip hop background as a big portion of being
Hmm.
uh, in your professional experience, how did your love and appreciation for the various forms put you in a focus area of urban cultural music? Where was that growth or evolution? Because since you had such an interest in other forms of music,
Hmm.
the urban music itself, and in particular hip hop, what tell us about that journey?
Well, I mean, now, are you talking about from the promotion marketing side of things, or just me personally and my DJing, or just love of music, or
Oh,
which?
good. Thank you for clarifying. In your professional career, actually.
Well, with Hot Wax, though we might be considered the first dedicated hip hop promotion company. We as Wars of Music Lover also. That's where we hit it off. That's where we convened a great deal. We promoted other types of music. We did some rock stuff. We worked for a label called Black Cat Records, which was kind of like a garage band label. I mean, this is early on. This is when we first got started. We worked with a label called Edge, which was I mean, for us, it was phenomenal because we got a chance to work with the legendary Al Bell from Stax Records.
Oh,
And
Stax Records.
Edge,
All right.
yeah. So Edge had blues artists. So we promoted blues records. They had people like Jimmy Bohorn and Bobby Marchand and people like that. We did promotion for those records. We did, like I said, house. We did techno. We did a lot of labels out of Chicago. Dance Mania. What's some of the other ones we did? But we did about 3 or 4 house labels out of Chicago easily. Then we did the stuff that was on Sleeping Bag that wasn't a hip hop. So we did like Sarah and Joy Sims. We did a little bit of like Latin freestyle. We did a band out of California that did what was it? We did Suavecito.
Suavecito.
Yeah. We did who else did we have? We had we did the rock and roll. We had a little bit of Latin. We had blues. Some jazz. We did a little bit of jazz. I would have loved to have done more jazz because I was a huge jazz lover. But we did a little bit of jazz. Yeah. So we did projects that reflected things that we loved.
Now, in reading, in seeing the things that you love, that's what brought you really were pinnacle in bringing urban music to the South by Southwest Festival itself. Tell us about that journey.
Well, having a good fortune at the time, once again, good fortune, right? Being in Austin, which Austin was not at the time a music mecca per se. Austin was known for some blues and some country and some rockabilly and rock and roll. South by Southwest was just kind of an early idea. It got started by 4 people primarily. 2 of them were at the Austin Chronicle, which was Austin's sort of version of the Village Voice, and that was Lewis Black and just had his name just popped. Nick Barbaro and Lewis Black were at the Austin Chronicle, and then you had Louis Switzer and Roland Swinson. They were the 4 principals behind South by Southwest. And fortunately, it got cool rolling, and I had a little bit of a name around Austin doing black music, of course, because there was no other promotions company there doing that. So I got invited to a panel. If it wasn't the first year, it was the second year. Yeah, I got invited to a panel, and I was on the panel. And at the time, South by Southwest, people probably find it hard to fathom because everything starts someplace. The breakout rooms held about 20 people.
Wow.
We had a little hotel downtown, I think it was the Stephen F. Austin Hotel on Congress Street. And the next year or so, I came on board to kind of help with some programming. So I brought in, some urban panels, and I brought in people like Kate Ferguson, who was at Word Up magazine at the time. I got Benny Medina to come down, which was instrumental later on in my career, because that's how I ended up at Warner Brothers. We invited down like Nelson George and other folks, because Nelson was writing at Billboard at the time. We had Greg Tate, who was a prominent writer. So we got the folks we could. The idea behind South by Southwest, even though I wasn't part of the idea, they wanted to do sort of like a new music seminar for Austin, right? And it was also a chance for these guys, like, we want to meet our heroes, they wanted to meet their rock and roll heroes. So it was never really an urban oriented affair, and it still isn't really. We go, but it wasn't designed as a platform for hip hop or whatever. It was primarily focused on rock and roll. And you can't blame it. People like what they like, and they build their things around it. But over the years, it became such a steady festival, and it's a place where younger people started going. Hip hop, like it did, infiltrated everything. But yes, there was a thing called the Fader Fort that started happening in Austin after I left. But yes, my company, myself, Hot Wax Promotions, were the first to do a hip hop show at South by Southwest.
Who were some of your artists at that particular first show?
At the time, the beauty of it, what I really wanted to do was give the Austin artists and Texas artists a chance to get some shine, to get some spotlight.
Oh, absolutely.
At a major festival. So behind that, I brought in Ultramagnetic MCs. I brought in YZ, who was on like Tell City at the time, had a hot song thinking of a master plan. A group called Blackmail that was out of Philly. So I figured if I get some national artists, these local artists can get a greater spotlight. And I kind of wish they had kept that ethos. I mean, I would like to do something again back in South by Southwest after all these many years to make that happen. Because, believe it or not, umpteen years later, we're talking 30 plus years later, there still has not been a breakout artist from Austin. And it's kind of a shame because, you got this major festival that happens every year, and a number of people have broken out from that festival, but there's not been an Austin artist to break out from that festival.
That's a very, come to think of it, I was trying to think if I could name one, and I can't.
You can't, because there isn't one. It's sad, but it's true. So I'm not sure where the disconnect is, or if there's blame to be laid anywhere. It still hasn't happened, and that's a shame because there is Black talent in Austin. There is hip hop talent in Austin. I know them. I've had the fortune to be I've been lucky enough to be around them. Before I left for New York, I was helping to groom some of them, and even brought a contingency to New York my first year there to the new music seminar to showcase, and still hasn't happened. Still didn't happen then, and it hasn't happened now, and I feel bad about that. I feel sad for them because you've had scenes started and breakout artists happen in so many other places. Atlanta, Chicago, Memphis, DC, on and on and on. Not a single person out of Austin, Texas.
I got to tell you,
you have it happen in Dallas. You've had it happen in Houston. So
it's shocking to me. I actually, when I come to think of it, and I've been a festival goer for some years, I really am misplaced to think of an artist that has broken out of there. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So for Austin to be considering itself the live music capital of the world, for South by Southwest to be the global entity that it's become, to not have a singular rap artist come out of Austin, it's a bit of a mark. It's like,
yeah, that's saying something. What do you think that's saying? I'm curious.
I'm saying, well, what I am saying is that, someone should have been championed. You couldn't find anyone to champion a singular artist to come out of that market. To me, it's a sad state. It's a sad commentary kind of on the festival because, like, this is your hometown. You got to have one person to rah-rah. It should have been like your mascot. Like, yo, this is our guy. We have this incredible vehicle. We've built this incredible stage, this incredible, system in place for all this great music to come out of, and we can't pluck one homegrown talent.
That is very interesting, man. I got to tell you, when I really think about it, I think I get comfortable in thinking, because it has become such a staple among the festivals, thinking, of course, but I really can't think of one.
And other people have gone there from other places to get signed, or to get seen, or to get notable, to become notable. Nobody from Austin.
So tell me, along those lines, where are we now? Where are we as a music culture? Where do you see we're at? If you had to put it in your words, who are we now? Who are we?
A little bit confused and all over the place. Starved in some respects. I think we're being given food, but not the necessary food in a lot of ways. I have an analogy I always make that, you can get fast food. I can get McDonald's, Burger King, Arby's, whatever, Burger Chef, right? Kentucky Fried, and it's going to be good food. It'll be tasty to me. I'll enjoy it. It'll fill me up. But if you took me to your grandmother's house and I got a grandma meal, I'm gonna be like, oh damn. You know, this is the bomb. You know, and you know, why can't I have this every day?
Yes.
You know, you got what I call grandma meal artists. You got a D'Angelo, you got a Erica, you've got a Roy Hargrove or whatever. You got these talents. You know, you've got what's my man name? Christian Scott out of New Orleans on Trump. You know, you got these talents that are superlative talents. Why can't we have more of them? Why can't we have grandma meals on a regular basis instead of getting inundated with McDonald's?
Yes, yes.
And Burger King. Because really, that's what you want. You know, the minute I take you to my grandma's house, you take me to your grandma's house, you immediately see, feel, and taste the difference. So why can't I get that on a regular basis? Why can't that be my regular diet? And that's an issue. That's a problem.
It really is. I find the long time that I've been associated in the music business, I find there's a dearth, and I've mentioned this previously, and I just am curious as to why that is. And I think, and I wonder if you'll agree with me, it's turn 'em and burn 'em, as the old expression goes, turn 'em and burn 'em.
Yeah, there's some of that. And there's also, like I said, the copycat syndrome. So I find a great artist, like like Anita Baker, right? I find an Anita Baker, and somebody goes out and wins with Anita Baker. Guess what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Every other entity is going to try and find an Anita Baker.
Yes.
Or give you some fake Anita Baker instead of finding the next unique talent. So okay, you find Anita, I'm gonna find something else that's gonna be equally unique, equally, spellbinding, whatever. But no, that doesn't happen. I'm gonna go find 10 more fake Anita Bakers until you're tired of that. And then somebody's gonna have the balls to find something unique, and they're gonna win, and then you're gonna go try and get 10 of those. And that's how the cycle goes.
And it is, and I find that that's very curious as to how it became that way. I think previously, in my previous experience, it used to be a little more interesting to take a chance on a new person, a new position, a new opportunity, and you don't.
Right.
I find that that's further. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, it was competition. If you found a dope act, I want to find an act that's equally dope or better, but stands out because it's different than your act, right?
Yes.
That's what real A&R people did. But now, I'm a lazy A&R person, if I'm even that, or the label itself is just sitting around checking analytics. Who's winning on YouTube? Who's winning on Instagram? Who's hot on TikTok? And instead of getting artists, I'm going out and getting songs. I'm getting a song that hits for about 5 minutes, Yes. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. So instead of finding incredible talent, I'm finding okay talent, middle of the road talent. It'll be good enough.
That's one of the shocks, and I do hear it more and more, and I'm paused on that as to my particular desire is to always find a new artist. And that's been one of your loves as well, and I find it very interesting. And you said it correctly, right? So I think about the Sexy Reds and Young Thug and a number of art, Travis Scott. And I see. Let's see. We're talking about different talents. I'll give it now. Travis Scott, newer, younger artist, but he's not a Sexy Red. Okay.
Much more talented than a Sexy Red. Okay. So you got people within the realm that are standouts, but do you really get to see them stand out when you got a whole ball of mediocrity around them?
Okay.
It's easy to lump everybody together. So, that's the issue.
And do you think we'll have a return? Because I think we like to say things come in cycles. Do you think we'll have a return to quality or locating individual artists? Or do you think because of technology and AI and how we're advancing, we're going to continue on this turn 'em and burn 'em?
Here's where it's tough. One, you don't have labels like you did anymore. So there's no wholesale industry-wide situation that could happen. right? So people, some people gonna break, certain people are gonna break through, some certain ones are not. So like I say, there's no one collective situation. So that's part of it. The other part of it is that you have now, like I said, cultivated a wide audience of consumers that their tastes are so. So what singular or collective entities are there out there to give them this good music all the time or some level of good music? It's going to happen in pockets. It's going to happen in spurts. Like working on a project right now called the Black Gold Show. Shout out to my man Basil Lancelin and everybody else involved. The Black Gold Show, to his credit, is Basil's idea. I'm helping him institute it. And the Black Gold Show is about Black excellence, for want of a better term. It could be becoming a little overused, but Black excellence in some respect. Now, Black excellence doesn't mean there won't be any cursing. Black excellence doesn't mean there won't be any things that, delve off into maybe less savory areas. But what it does mean is that the people that are involved are trying to achieve some excellence, not only in music, but they're doing other things, right? We've got people who are making music, but they're also working in IT. They're being motivational speakers. They're being business owners. They're doing landscaping. You know what I mean?
I do.
And so they're all independent artists. So it's sort of like an Avengers situation where everybody's individual, everybody's independent, everybody's self-contained, but they're coming together to do this collective. That's an idea that's really we started putting it together and trying to make it happen as far back as, 2019, 2020. And 2020 was going to be the launch. We were going to looking to kind of kick it off overseas and then bring it back. But as we know, the world got upended and that didn't happen.
Oh, yeah.
Since, that created a scattering of sorts, we've now been trying to kind of recollect everybody and reconvene to make this happen. But, you'll start seeing some stuff out there. We got some, beside Baz, he goes by Baz the Enigma, Baz being one of the initial artists. Baz the Enigma. We have Garby Rebel Rich. We have Ken Brisbane. We have a new sister that came aboard 20 in Houston. We have Miss Dank out of Houston, out of Austin actually, who's now in Houston, was with a group there called the Cooley Girls. We have a man Claymo out of Cleveland, who was originally in Austin, who I met years ago, and he's still a talent. Also, the other thing about the people in the Black Gold Show, they're not youngsters, they're not rookies. They've all had a little bit of life happen. They're older, they're seasoned, but they're every bit as talented as anybody out there. So the idea behind it, go ahead, what you saying?
Oh, no, I was just going to ask you, go ahead and elaborate, please.
Yeah, so the idea behind it is to not only, give you great music, but also to show that there are multiple avenues of achieving and multiple avenues of having some level of excellence and the desire to want to be that. I don't want to just be an artist and be mediocre. I don't want to just be an artist and not have any other aspects to my life. These people have other things happening. Like Dank is doing real estate. And like I said, Brisbane is the one doing public speaking. Baz the Enigma has an organization called Drums for Youth, where he's trying to help save young Black men and put them on a path to success and a path to better lives and being better people. So that's the story, the message that we want out there with this particular project and performing entity. So remember, the Black Gold Show.
I was just going to ask you, so Keir, how can we be in touch with the Black Gold Show? Where can we find out more about it?
The Black Gold Show has a new revamped site coming up, and there will also be an Instagram page. In the meantime, I'm starting to put some things up on my Rhythm Alchemy, at Rhythm Alchemy on Instagram. So you can go there. You'll start seeing some Black Gold stuff appear. And you can also follow the artists. You can follow Baz on Instagram, Bazio Music. You can follow Garby Revel Rich and go. I'll check them all out on either Spotify or YouTube. Some of them on Bandcamp. Oh, we've also got a young brother, Sterling Tolles, who
I'm writing some of these
incredible producer. Sterling is actually the producer who discovered Boldy James and produced his album Manger on McNichols, which is a hip hop tour de force, if you ask me, sonically, because it doesn't sound like any other hip hop album you've heard.
I will be checking some of these cats out because, as we talked briefly prior off this interview, in my history, it has been primary to discover newer talent, undiscovered talent, and bring them to the forefront. So I'm so glad to be hearing about this and sharing this information.
Yeah. Oh, there's also Ramis, who also goes as Big Ram on it. Ramis, Ramis the Damager. Ramis is a boxer. Other than right, you've got a brother CL McCoy. I know I'm leaving somebody out. Forgive me. If it comes back to me before we conclude, I'll bring them up. But yeah, so Crystal Clear out of Detroit.
Crystal with the C.
Yeah, Crystal Clear. My man Amir, who is a newer contact acquaintance. I'm dragging in, having him dust it off and jump in the mix. Amir's a bad young brother, aka Styrofoam Jones.
Styrofoam Jones, I dig that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool last name, right? Styrofoam Jones.
It is, right? It is. It won't make the environmentalists too happy.
Yeah, right.
But yes,
you got my man Ryan, young Ryan, cool kid. So yeah, he's gonna kill me. I cannot forget my man protege Damo. Damo's a brother out of Chicago who's now in Atlanta via New York, producing some incredible music. DAME-O Damo. DAME-O Damo. Damo's got a lot of stuff up on Bandcamp and YouTube. Fire. He's really a talented cat. He raps, he produces, he raps, and he sings.
Oh, dig it. We got to check that out.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said this because this is one of the areas I like to put out there and have that resonate with people and have them get in contact with some of these cats too, because I just find like those are some of the people I would love for them to become knowledgeable about.
For sure. I mean, it's going back to your initial question about things changing, whatever. Yes. There's a lot of clutter out there right now.
Yes.
You got thousands of songs coming out per day now because almost anybody can do it. You don't have to be in a major studio anymore. The barrier to entry has been the bar of entry has been lowered. The barriers have been diminished. So now you've got to figure out, how do I cut through? How do I slice through the noise? How do I slice through all the people in front of me trying to get seen and heard? It's not an easy thing to do. And a lot of people don't have the knowledge of how to do that. So that's a big disconnect. But there's so much good music out there, and it's not the stuff we hear on the radio.
I totally agree with that. I think Bandcamp and some of the other stations, there's even another one, I forget the name, I recently came across, that are giving some opportunities. Back in the day, I'm aging myself, but MySpace used to be a vehicle to I know. I don't know.
It's only aging yourself to a very young crowd, right? Because MySpace, as you know, MySpace was the go-to spot.
Yeah, it was.
MySpace was TikTok at its time, man. Please.
It really was, Kat. It really was. And I remember thinking, I used to get excited to check out my MySpace and see about some new artists I hadn't seen before. And
right.
I thought they did a great job of having the different categories and so forth. And I always felt that there wasn't that crazy control over it. Artists still had some freedom and some room to demonstrate their differences, their unique differences and unique styles.
Believe it or not, some people still have a MySpace page.
I was look. You know what? Hey, don't get it twisted, Keir. I was trying to find how to still log into mine.
I know, right?
I was still trying to see my old password work.
You know what? Let me tell you two places where they messed up, because MySpace would really hit right now, but they messed up. To me, they messed up at the transition where when they redid MySpace, first of all, they did it too late, right? They revamped too late.
I agree.
And they streamlined it too late. And I think they made a mistake by cutting off a bunch of people's pages. I guess they didn't have the bandwidth to move everybody over. Maybe that was it. So people who wanted to find their pages and would have revamped them couldn't find their pages, right? And they came about too soon because the speed of the internet wasn't where it should have been for MySpace to be as robust as it could have been. Because what happened, people started putting so many things in their pages were taking forever to load. Remember that?
I do.
They had GIFs come up. They had JPEGs. They had the music. And so you waited like a half hour for somebody's freaking page to come up. By then you're like, I don't care about this. I don't care about this crap.
I don't want to wait this long.
So then Facebook came along and they streamlined the process, and your stuff came up like that. You're like, I'm here. This is where I am, you know?
Yeah, I do.
But Facebook was never as music and creatively centric as MySpace.
Correct.
But if MySpace had allowed people to keep their pages and then just updated everything else, the speed and so forth, they'd been killing right now.
Oh, I totally agree. I find one of the poor demonstrations of the evolution of technology is MySpace being gone, because I felt prior to the TikTok, it was just a really good vehicle for new artists to get discovered and build their audiences.
And that's the place now.
Absolutely.
But also, unfortunately, that's where people are looking. People at companies, at whatever labels still exist, and there's not even there used to be. They're like, "What are you doing? What are you doing on TikTok? What are you doing on Instagram? And then that's the criteria for you getting signed, which I think is crap.
That's it. It really is. I do too, and I find it quite tragic to some degree, because I feel it just makes it that much harder. Not that it's supposed to be easy, but for newer artists who are extremely talented to be heard or discovered. I find that a tragedy.
Exactly. You're right. Completely.
I know. I definitely am nowhere in agreement with that. Now, before going too far, I'd be remiss without going into my auntie, who I'm in love. Who is in love.
You're trying to get to this baker, aren't you? You're trying to get there.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. So, whatever experience it was, we are actually honored just to hear it. So, not just Anita Baker, but me personally is kind of mine. How is that experience? How was that experience?
Well, I mean, for me, it was extraordinary because, I working at Elektra, I was head of the rap department, which was actually the first dedicated rap department at a major label, right? So within that framework, I also was able to work the R&B records to the colleges and alternative stations that we dealt with, right? Because, a college station would have, several shows in a day. So even though they had rap shows, they would have guys that played R&B stuff too. So it gave us an added weapon, an added opportunity for exposure for our other artists. So behind that, I got to work stuff like Anita Baker, like Keith Sweat, like Bjork and the Sugar Cubes, like Delight.
Oh man.
And that was dope.
Groove is in the heart. Delight.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, them. Yes, right. Right. So, we got a chance to touch other areas via that, and shout out to my former assistant, Fred Jackson, who kind of helped make that happen, because Fred dealt with a bunch of the colleges directly, even before I got to Elektra. So I just folded into that, right? And I had always, coming out of my own company, we dealt, I told you, with everything. So I had a cadre of stations that I knew already that had multiple formats via, whether it was Wiley College in East Texas or Prairie View A&M or Texas Southern or Houston Tillerson, whatever, these various schools and colleges had these multiple formats. So within that framework, I said, I got a chance to work with Anita, with Keith Sweat, my man from Shalimar.
Yes.
Exactly.
Oh man,
Howard Hewitt.
That's it.
Howard Hewitt, who was on Electra. Specialty records that we had out on Electra. Yeah, so I got a chance to kind of put a hand on all those things. So Anita Baker, coming from Detroit, she was a known quantity because she's from Detroit and she was in a group called Chapter 8. And they had a huge song when I was coming up called I Just Want to Be Your Girl. So we knew who she was and she was killing it, right? And then, of course, when I was doing independent promotion and back in Austin in college, her albums, I was all over them. So to finally get to New York and get to see her, I was like, oh. And, we hit it off because she was a sister from the D.
Oh, dig it.
And I never remember her, for people, badmouth Anita Baker for, she's a diva, she's this and that.
Yeah,
I got a chance to ask her, and this is many years ago, but I got a chance to ask her this directly about, at the time, people were really calling her a B, But she said, I'll take it because if I go out, if I go and do a show, right, and everything's not perfect, the sound is off or the lighting, whatever, no one's going to blame the sound man. Nobody's going to blame the lighting guy.
That's right.
They're going to say Anita Baker's whack and she had a whack ass show.
That's right.
I had to give it up for that. I'm like, well, you know what? You're right.
It's a fair point.
He's like, so I'm demanding a certain level of quality when I do something. How you gonna falter for that?
You can't. You can't. I think it's actually a very, very good point taken, for sure.
Because in the end, she's gonna take the hit no matter what.
That's right.
So
that's right. You said it. Yeah, that was one of the areas I had to touch on just a little bit in there, but I think that's I had to. And then other cats you dealt with were Beastie Boys. What was that like?
I laugh when I say the Beasties because the Beasties were, like LL and there were a few other select artists that we started doing promotion for, right? And then they took off, and all of a sudden they got ripped out of our hands by the pop department.
Oh, dig it. Oh,
wow. Like no one gave a damn. Like Slick Rick was one. Like Slick Rick, nobody gave a damn. We were quoting Hey Young World and Children's Story. Everybody's like, but when Children's Story blew up, all of a sudden the pop department shows up. Hey guys, thank you. We'll take it from here. LL Cool J, that whole Walking with the Pants album, blah blah blah. Cool. That's black stuff. That hip hop stuff. I Need Love took off. Next thing you know, the pop department. Hey guys, we'll take it from here. I'll be sure. Night and Day. We had the demo on Al, right? Andre sent us the cassette. We had a cassette on I'll Be Sure before it even came out. It took off so fast. We got to do that. We got to do that much promotion because, hey guys, ta-da! Pop department again.
That's how it happens.
Oh man, it happened. It happened to black artists, and to me, it was messed up because, you want these people to forsake their core, the people who brought them here.
Yes.
All of a sudden, people can't get interviews, people can't get walkthroughs, they can't get station IDs because the pop department to come in and big willie them. That used to piss me off.
Oh yeah, and it's happened, and I think we both have seen where it's just happened it's so quickly and it's sinisterly.
Yeah.
Great.
After we did the setup and the work, and built the audience. Hey, thank you. Like what the fuck?
Thank you for getting them all dressed up. We'll take it from here.
Yeah. Now that you've done all the pound and ground, the ground and pound, okay.
Oh yeah.
We'll come in for all the glory.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've had several artists that we did promotion for that happened to. Yeah.
Would you
So
say with the promotion the way it is now, and now since it's easier with the social media platform, a new younger person that wants to get into that is, I guess maybe the better question might be: is there even still, with the rising of TikTok and the Facebooks and the Twitter and so forth, is there still a niche lane someone can carve out for themselves, a young person in marketing and promotions? Is there still a good employment opportunity within that realm?
yeah, there is, but I think there's two parts to that. I think there definitely is, having a knowledge of social media and these new advents that everybody uses has its high points, right? But at the same time, there's a distance. You know, I can do all this stuff. People are always out there hustling. I can get you streams, or I can get you followers. But what does that translate to in reality? How many followers do you have will actually show up at your live performance? How many followers will actually buy your merchandise or buy your performance tickets? Because it's easy to hit a button and say, yes, I like this. It's easy to hit the button and say, I like you, or yes, or whatever the case may be. It's a whole nother level of effort to come out and spend your money to see somebody.
Absolutely.
And are you doing the things to make it worth it? So it varies, man. It varies. And a lot of these kids are lacking in what I call hand-to-hand combat, social skills, being able to walk up to you, Seth, and say, hey, Seth, how you doing? Da, 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 da. I've got this artist. You should like him. Because, the bottom line is that we're still people, right? We're still human, and human interaction means something, and relationships are still important. And I don't mean me texting you on Messenger. I mean a relationship. Like,
Absolutely.
I've seen you in person. I've shared a meal with you. I've had a drink with you. We chew bubble gum together, whatever the hell. Mm-hmm. There is a level of human connectivity that you cannot surpass. And that's what a lot of these people are lacking.
And you hit really on the strongest point that I feel is missing, and or what makes persons like yourself and myself the rarity. It is the human connection that we specialize in, I think. And
you got to have it.
That is, you have to have it. I think it's so key in this arena. And things are sped up and things are faster now. Mm-hmm. But there's nothing like the human connection point. And I think that is a special gift in itself. Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, it's what makes music. Music is not like an ephemeral thing. It's not like, I'm flossing with a gold watch or a diamond ring, whatever. Music, rich, poor, whatever, it reaches you on a human level, on an emotional level. That's why it's so powerful. That's why people want to be connected to it. That's why people want to control it, because it is visceral, right? So obviously the connections behind it should be visceral on some level. It's almost a disservice if it's not. If it's just a completely automated thing, no.
That's right.
Now, and unfortunately, as you mentioned, AI, music is becoming automated.
Absolutely.
In some respect.
Trippy. It's very much so.
But here's the thing, because my cousin, I told you, Sterling, who's a producer, he's been messing with AI stuff. You can hear it in a lot of things, though. There's something missing. There's something lacking within those AI-generated songs. There's like there's a spirit that's bereft. Like, it's cool. It sounds great.
You're saying it.
But it's like, there's something off here.
Yes, you're saying it. And I think that's a spiritual human connection. That only a human being can bring. That evokes those emotions, that makes us feel connected, and that makes us want to share those experiences. Those memories. Bless you.
Right. Yeah. That person playing that instrument or hitting those buttons or whatever is imbuing into the process. it's not there. It's not there.
No, it's not.
And so there's going to always be a need. There's going to always be a need.
Has to. And I'm so glad you touched on that. I don't think I've heard anyone mention it or speak about us eloquently as you have. You touched a nerve with me with that, because I really think that's descriptive on the concern with AI music. I don't know how one can have necessarily the connection to it as when it's a live person. Right. I think that's an excellent point.
Right. And it's the same thing with the art, because I think when people say AI, that's probably what they think of first and the most these days.
Yes.
Computer generated images that's because you're all over the place. But if you notice, they all have a similar look. Yes. They have a similar feel. Yeah, they can be very photorealistic and photographic almost, but there's still a soul that's kind of missing from it.
Absolutely.
And dealing with the artists and designers all the time, it's a point of discussion right now, big time, because it's putting some people out of work.
That's right.
It really is. But it's as clean as it is, and everything's just clean and tight and pristine, but it still doesn't have something that a real artist can give you. Sometimes you need or want the jagged. It doesn't have to be super clean, super crisp. That may not be what's needed or necessary for that situation. But that's what AI is giving you all the time, constantly. Boom, boom, boom.
Such a valid point. It's such a valid point. It's so valid. I'm just so glad you brought that up. This is actually very enriching in a number of different ways. It gives me food for thought in a number of ways. If you had to say a book or maybe a quote that gave you great inspiration or sticks with you today, what would that book be? Or what would that book's title be? Or that?
Oh, geez. Well, one of several books. I mean, on the traditional classical sense, like Invisible Man, Ralph Ellison, Three Musketeers.
Oh, yeah. You're talking the
classics. The original. Yes. There's a book called Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. Right? Phenomenal book. I've given it to friends. I've loaned it to friends, and they've kept it.
I gotta check that out.
Yes, it's a fantastic book. It really is. From just a life perspective, right?
Absolutely.
There's a whole bunch of art books, but I'm in art books, so I don't know if that's going to help anybody. Pick up anything by Gordon Parks. Great visuals. I'm a Salvador Dali fan.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just. So when it comes to books of imagery and photography, I'm all over that. But a quote, I give you, since we're talking, well, I'll give you a couple quotes. One is Duke Ellington when it comes to music. Duke Ellington said, and I just kind of my philosophy on music and working in the music business, Duke Ellington said there are two kinds of music, good and the other kind. I don't want to be associated with the other kind.
Oh, I like that.
I do not want to be associated with the other kind. The other one is by me. my close friends know it because I've said it to them, and that is, people will let you do anything once you do something.
Oh, wow. People will let you do anything once you do something.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Very good.
The minute you go out and pull something off successfully, okay, whatever you want to try, you can pretty much try it. Some people shouldn't, but if you look around, you look at somebody successful, what are they doing the next thing? Even though you're like, oh, why are they doing that? But they have the latitude to do it. All you need is that one success.
And on those words, all you need is that one success. And there's no small successes. It's one of the quotes I've heard before. There are no small successes and no great failures that can't lead you to the next step. Definitely.
I
got to tell you,
it's the continuous try.
Absolutely.
And I don't know anybody who, like, people that become really successful. I can't say I'm necessarily one of the people that we look up to, people that we know as millionaires, billionaires, or whatever, or legendary figures. always continued to try something else, right?
Mm.
They never just stopped at that one thing. And sometimes they didn't hit first, second, third time out. Like you may know them now, but you may not know them previously until they kept it going. And then they finally hit a level of success and like, oh yeah, that's so-and-so. But you didn't know so-and-so when they were taking the bus or riding a bike or walking just to have the opportunity to do what they finally succeeded at.
That's powerful. That's extremely powerful. Keir, I got to tell you, it has been an extreme honor and pleasure.
Hey, man, glad to have been here, been able to do it.
I tell you, there's so many areas I feel that we can go into, and I'm hoping that we can circle back again to go into maybe some stories that you haven't shared and so forth. And I would love
there's a number of those.
I'm sure. And I would love for us to circle back on this. To our audience, please do check out this gentleman, Keir Worthy, one of the most wealthy persons I'm understanding with his knowledge of marketing and the music industry that I've had the pleasure of speaking with, and this opportunity to share his expertise with us. Maker's Bar, we are looking to create 1 million leaders today for tomorrow, and Keir Worthy is one of those who are giving us the opportunity and the insight to help create those leaders. Keir, from the humble of my hearts, I thank you so much for being here with us and sharing the time. Are there parting words?
I appreciate the opportunity.
For sure, for sure. Any parting words you'd like to leave us with? Because you did leave us with some gems, but please feel free.
What would I say? Just, always remain as much as hopeful as much as you can. Indulge yourself. If you have a passion, pursue it. Delve into as many things as you like as you possibly can. You don't have to do just one thing.
I like that. Keir, thank you so much, my brother. I'm looking forward to all the great things we're going to do in the future. Again, thank you for this 2-part episode with Keir Worthy. Keir, you have been one of the most incredible guests I've had, and I thank you again.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Thank you, Maker's Bar. Maker's Bar.
Fantastic. And your boy Seth Garu is saying, God loves you, and so do I. One love. Go out and be present. Share your gifts and share your talents. They're not for a loss. Peace, my audience. Thank you.